live stream, also just testing the waters, how all this stuff works on this other channel. Hey, I'm Justin from I Know a Guy Bicycles. If you follow me on the other YouTube channel, I Know a Guy Bicycles, welcome. This is a safe space for just working on bikes and showing off older stuff and tools and everything I'm just doing. So kind of sidebar from the actual crazy Reddit of retail bicycle stuff. This is mainly just a focus on tune-ups and parts and just what I just said anyway. Check it out. This is a Masi. Masi is an Italian brand and it's owned by a company that owns Haro. Haro is known in the US as, you know, more like your BMX mountain bikes of the 90s and the 80s kind of thing. They kept Masi as a standalone company for themselves. And they still make bikes today. And they do have a kind of a sweet titanium one I've been keeping an eye on, actually on sale. But not sure who actually makes those particular Masi titaniums. But this guy here, World Masi Champion. So double butted chromoly tubing on this guy. It's in for a full major tune. So got to go over some parts that we're going to be putting on this. It's been bought, used, and the guy that's riding it now, part of my community of customers, saw me here on YouTube and wanted me to do the full detailed tune-up on it. And he bought it. It's not really the right size for him, but he's working through that. And in addition to, he's never had it worked on. So what does that entail on all the stuff that needs to be worked on? Well, let's just take a peek of all the stuff. And I'm sorry about the hand movement of the camera here. But anyway, this is live as a bike mechanic doing YouTube. So hey, you gotta give us a little bit of a break here. So the chain cassette, worn out, just right off the bat. And we got pedals, that classic style of pedals. And what I found kind of interesting is they used kind of beer caps for spacers on the backside. So, you know, finding weird stuff like that, it's kind of fun. The bottom bracket on this guy, toast, grindy. And the chain ring that's currently on it is worn down. I mean, you can hardly see some of the teeth. So, and they converted this to a 1x. I don't have an exact chain ring size, so it's either the question, do I go a little bigger or do I go a little lower in gear range? Well, so when you do a smaller gear in the front, it makes it easier to pedal. He has mentioned this is more of a boss of a bike, and he wanted a little more of a range, and he thought about doing a whole conversion to like a triple or a double, but that got a little too expensive. And he wants to set that money aside to buy another bike, maybe on the used market, something that's a little more lightweight and more efficient. This is more of a heavier commuter type style. I mean, the name is Special Commuter, so it is what it is. So going with a 8-speed cluster, and yeah, it's an 8-speed, so we have to work around using older stuff. But I got a wider range of cluster there, so I'm thinking I'm gonna go with a smaller tooth chainring for him, a 39, which 39 is your typical middle chainring or your smaller chainring on road doubles. So 39, 52, this is 39, doesn't have the big end, which he doesn't really need anyway. So this might actually give him a little bit more climbing on that. And it's a 130 spacing on the back side of it. And this chainring is pretty much new. And it's also FSA, black, so kind of all matchy-matchy. So it's all about style too when you work on bikes like this as well. I had to buy new hoods because the current hoods on it are kind of sticky, like rubber that's exposed, gets really crackly. So a little bit of treatment, like tire treatments like that, if you find them from the auto industry, will take care of rubber, will help the rubber from breaking down. So that's a little side note there. And I got to squint to be able to say, hi, thank you for joining me. I'm not going to try to say your title, but anyway, welcome to the live stream. And here's the really cool thing is I had this bar tape rolling around. The brown, he had old brown on there and brand new. So I was like, this definitely needs to go on there. And it's the original cork ribbon from Cicelli. So that's a cool one there. Cleaned the brakes. The rear derailleur is an old 105, 8-speed rear derailleur. And I blew the jockey pulleys off and cleaned them all up. So I got bits here. It also has fenders and a rack. So as a mechanic, you kind of have to, well, you do have to navigate through those things. I got them sit over here in the corner. But